What's up, guys? Scott here from Chernobyl Studios, and today we are looking at the Fortin Cali Suite amp simulator from Neural DSP. Let's jump right into this and check out the demo that I created using this amp sim. All right. Clearly, this thing is also a gain monster, and with metal, no problems. Okay, so if you were already on the fence, like, do I need the Cali or the Nameless? You can use both. Okay, but there are differences, some major differences. And actually, let's load up the Nameless here really quick. I would just like to show some things that are the same. Okay, and why some people are getting confused. Okay, so if we look at the interface, obviously the interface is pretty much the same. We have the same controls throughout, but that's a good thing. It means that it's easy to use and it'll be comfortable, right? You won't have to think about what to do, right? Pedals are all the same, and the cab IR loader is the same. It's all the same, okay? But we have some significant differences in the Fortin Cali. Now with the Nameless, it's pretty much like how much gain do you want, Scott? And the answer is yes. Okay, this is a total gain monster, and it's my go-to for rhythm guitars, especially in metal. But I know a lot of guys on YouTube and a lot of folks, are using 7/8 string guitars. They just want, all the gain, and they want to use this terrible grind pedal to make it as glassy as possible. And that's what they want to do, and Nameless is great for that. But that's what Nameless is great for, and you will be hard pressed to really do anything else with Nameless. You can get a couple, you can change the sound with the different gain, stages, and you can change things, but it doesn't hold a candle to what you can do with the Cali. All right, so let's talk more about the Cali here. So if you're looking at the Cali, right, you're just like, oh, it's just another Marshall modification. They got a bunch of extra knobs down here. You got thump. Let's make this bigger. You've got thump, hair, violence, and bright. Okay, thump and hair. And before we even get, the reason I can't just say thump does this and hair does that, because it's not as simple as just saying, thump does this and hair does that. It'll change the way that it interacts with the speakers. And the violence knob here and the bright knob will also, like the violence is an extra gain stage, the bright will change the brightness with boosts and stuff like that. But it's not as simple as on and off, okay? And that's one of the things that I've always liked about Marshall amplifiers in general, is that when you are messing with the tone stack, it's not just like, okay, I'm just turning up the presence and that's it. You fundamentally change the actual tone of the guitar to such a degree where, if you're, for example, we're looking at presence here, which seems to be at 3, that might be a low setting if we were to compare like Mesa, a dual rectifier or an angle amp. But if I crank the presence too much, for example, on this particular amplifier, it becomes like paper, really sizzly somehow, and the entire tone changes, right? And that will also depend on which of these switches you have enabled or not. So if you enable a switch here, all the tone stack knobs need to be messed with, because that switch will interact with all the different knobs individually, and as a whole, you will create a completely different tone. And that's where this differentiates itself from the Nameless. The Nameless is that balls to the wall rhythm guitar tone, all the gain, yes. Fortin, you can do the same thing. I mean, you have a violence knob here, which is an extra gain stage. You got the balls here. You can do that, right? But you can also use the overdrive channel, all right, or the clean channel. So there's a lot more dynamic quality that you can get from this amp simulator than you can with the Nameless. And the reason why I'm always comparing it with the Nameless is because if you go on Google or you look on YouTube or you look online, everyone's like, do I get the Cali or do I get the Nameless? Right? And this will come down to what your needs are. All right. Do you need a rhythm guitar machine, or you're just doing Morse code on your guitar with your 8-string tuned to, double drop E or whatever nonsense? Or would you like to get more creative, get more crafty? Want to sit down and experiment and dial in and find out something unique and modify your tone more with the extra switches and how the tone pods work and stuff like that. So that'll depend on you, okay? And again, by the way, the demo is in standard E tuning on the guitar, so it sounds great in standard E. Okay, it sounds brutal, just visceral, heavy, gnarly. Okay, so the balls are there, the attitude is there, but the extra work where you get an OD2 and OD1, the metal channel, and then the more overdrive channel, just means that you have more opportunities to create a unique tone. Okay, where you wouldn't have with the NTS, for example, or even or the Nameless. Okay, or even the NTS actually. Okay, so let's talk about what I've done here. Again, Zool into hex drive. Always use the hex drive. I don't like the grind pedal. It's too glassy for me. It just sounds too abrasive. Just like it just, I don't know. It's too metallic and glassy. I don't like it. The hex drive, I really, really enjoy this pedal. So I use this one all the time. The settings here are right here. Okay. Settings. And all these settings are based on the cab impulse that I chose. So if you've seen Guitar Tone Master, you already know the process. It's always the same. Okay, cab IR into tone pods. All right. I ended up going with an MD421, and I have a bit of an unusual mic position in that I'm way off on the side of the cone here. But it just sounded good to me, and that's what I really like, so I decided to go for it. There's no rule that says you have to be at the cap edge. That doesn't exist. It didn't sound good to me. I didn't like it, so I kept moving the microphone away from the cap until I was like, I really like that position. That's how it goes. Then I came back, and then I messed with the knobs here, the switches. I should say switches probably. And then this took forever, guys. I mean, the Fortin Cali, like I said, it took me a moment to realize, like, wow, it's not as simple as just flipping the switches on and off and setting the tone pods. Everything works together. Everything is affected together. So you turn this switch off and turn this switch on, and then turn the treble knob. It is going to be totally different if those two switches are off with the treble knob. So I mean, I can't really I can't really tell you what does what because it's really difficult to explain. It's just it all works together. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it. And actually, I've made a rhythm preset here called Nuclear Rhythm. There's a link to that below where you can go download. You'll get a download link to that in exchange for signing up to my newsletter. I don't spam. I only send emails when I got new videos coming up or just good information that I would like to share with you guys. But you can download this preset and you can mess with it if you want. Again, if you are playing in standard E, D, maybe drop D, E flat, this preset will probably work pretty well for you. I had never tested it on a 7-string or anything lower than those tunings, so anyway, you can download it and mess with it yourself and see what kind of results you get with it. All right. Outside from here, when the demo was playing, I showed these 2 EQ moves or EQ plugins, and that's all I did for processing on guitar. No Soothe, no API, just these EQ moves. And that's very impressive because usually I'm adding extra character with the API and stuff like that. But when it came to this sound, I didn't want to do anything else. I just wanted to clean it up and shape it a little tiny bit with taking out some more mids. And that's all I did to it. So let's solo this, and then I will turn off the EQ first because the tone is still massive and amazing without EQ. And then I'll enable the EQ and we'll talk about what we did. Let's make sure we're on the right channel though. Oh, that's a good. Let's actually go between these two really quick. So the settings are the same, right? But it's clear that this is way more of an overdrive rock bluesy channel. It seems that the low end is more hyped. It's not nearly as scooped, but Still sounds great. Okay, so the EQ is super simple. All right, the sound, while it may sound like it changes drastically, the only thing I'm actually doing in particular is this low mid cut. I'm taking quite a bit out, to be fair. But these are all resonance cuts where I'm dealing with nasally, whistly sounds. Just the nasty frequencies that just make the guitar tone sound painful, and these frequencies actually mask the tone of the guitar. So once this is all taken out, you can really hear what the guitar sounds like, and it sounds brutal and visceral, man. This particular EQ, this was done later on, near the end of the demo when I finished mixing it. And every once in a while, there's this nasty little honk that comes up with the guitar tone. So I put this dynamic EQ in, and that's it. That's all I did. No tricks. Nothing else happening. Just the amp simulator with the included cab IR impulse with basically what's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 very basic EQ moves into a limiter. That's all. All right. And this could be L1 because I don't have the Chug Slayer initialized, which is like the any sneep C4 trick. So that's all. It's very super simple. All right, and very naked as they would say, insofar as it's not really processed that much. All right, so that literally does it for this review because I mean, there's not a whole lot else I would like to talk about. For those of you who are still on the fence, for example, if you can only buy one and you're thinking about Nameless or the Cali Suite here, the basic advice that I can give you is that if you are in drop tuning, really low tuning, you like to play Morse code or gent on your guitar, you just want the thickness and the heaviness of a rhythm guitar tone. You want it to be tight. Go with the Nameless, all right? Because that's got all the gain. You'll be perfectly suited for that, and the Nameless is fantastic for that. If you are wanting to maybe find out a different particular tone that you can get, mess with your tone a little bit more, have a very unique custom sound because of all the different, basically all the different, the limit, it's nearly limitless, all these options that you have here. Um, and you want a clean channel and also maybe an overdrive channel to complement the high gain metal channel, go with the Cali, okay? And these are both super simple plugins insofar as that you don't have any extra things bloating the plugin. You know, with some of the archetype plugins, you've got reverb and delay and compression and stuff like that. But I think it would almost be a mistake to include those plugins in the Fortin plugins because the magic happens in the amp right here, especially with the Cali. The magic is moving around all these switches and all these tone pots and being like, oh my God, that sounds cool, or that's interesting. I didn't expect it to react like that. Okay. You're going to have a lot of fun tweaking the amp. Okay. You can just, if you get the Cali, just understand that it's going to be an experimental process. You're going to have to tweak things. You're going to have to try stuff out. Try every single switch, mess with the tone pots. See what kind of differences you get. You're going to really need to make notes, mental notes. Be like, okay, wow. You know, I turned on thump and I did this, this, and this, and you know, this is cool, but you know, I'm not quite sure. Go to the next switch. Okay, so you can methodically do that to learn the amp, so you can find the settings that you know make sense for you and what you really, really enjoy. So that would be my advice to you. If you just want all the gain, Nameless. If you want the gain, Not all of it, but if you want the gain, but you really want to tone shape, and you want to come up with something unique, but you still want that nice high gain sound, Cali is what you want to go for. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, the bell notification. What else? Probably pretty soon you're gonna have to, send me your DNA profile, a blood test. I don't know what else, just so that you can get a freaking notification that I uploaded a video on YouTube. So one of these days, hopefully that system will work. And remember, you can download the preset that I came up with here in the description below. Hit the link, and you can download it. It'll be great. So let me know, guys. What do you think of the Cali? Have you tried it? Have you tried the Nameless? Do you prefer one or the other? Do you hate both of them? Do you like both of them? Let me know in the comments. Would love to hear your opinion, all right? Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.